Hellsing Ultimate is one of the most phenomenal and violent animes ever made. This anime doesn't really mind to show guts and blood when it's needed, and it seems like it is always needed. If you think that first episode of Goblin Slayer was something, then you aren't really ready for this anime. By a matter of fact, not even 2006, that was the year that this anime started airing, was ready for this show. It started in 2006 and it just ended in 2012. The main focus of this show is vampires, which isn't really special. There are a lot of other shows that also are about vampires, but I can guarantee to you that this one is really different from others. When I say that it is built different, it is because it is built different.
俺のケツになんか当たってるんですが当ててんのよ
On this show, our protagonist isn't a vampire, just for the sake of sucking the blood of other girls. In fact, Alucard isn't just a vampire, he is the vampire. The truly, the almighty, the most overpowered one. The guy that could easily beat Goku and then fight against Saitama. But more on that later. Let's start by the beginning. At start of the show, and here we go, Fairbrook, Windsgate, Hellsing Integra, was still a child. Unfortunately, her father passed away, and his uncle tried to get control over the organization that he had. Without any options left, Integra decided to run to the cave and wake up Daddy. Daddy was asleep for a long time, but after taking a little taste of her blood that was in the floor, he quickly woke up and saved her by killing her uncle. No big deal. After that there was a time skip, and now the little Integra is a goddamn badass woman. She asserted her position as leader of the organization Hellsing, which basically is an organization specializing in killing vampires. Integra was no dumb girl. She knew that the best way to kill a vampire is with another one, with an even more powerful one. Although being the leader of the organization, she lives a peaceful life. She just calmly kills some vampires every day, with her massive army, and with her ultimate weapon called Alucard. No big deal. In the first part of this anime, we get to know the characters, and we are still building a foundation for what is coming next. Because it is on the second part of the show when shit really hit the fan. And we will talk about that in a minute. But first, let me ask you a question. As a normal creature in this round thing called Earth, I wasn't expecting that. At all. Like, what the heck just happened? Alucard just didn't really give a fuck. After that, he transformed her into a vampire. So now, she basically is the subject of Alucard. And listen here, for a girl that was previously a cop, she adapted quite well. I will warn you in advance, but I will be simping for Alucard this entire video, because I just love him. This guy is just cool. And talking about that, if you want to offer me a body pillow of him, I will gladly accept it. But by any means, don't get me wrong, it isn't just Alucard. Every character on this show is goddamn cool, and also goddamn badass. In many shows, the author of the story just cares about main characters, and the others are just kinda forgotten. But in Hellsing Ultimate it is completely different. Every character is interesting. Every character has some kind of a backstory, and every character is a character that you will like to see on screen. But alright, I'm not gonna pretend that this show is a masterpiece, with a ton of plot twists, with great well-developed characters, with great backstory. No, it isn't. Although this show has really interesting side characters, its premise is really simple and the story is really basic. We are an organization that kill vampires, so we will kill vampires. And that's what this show is about. In the second part of this anime, this is even more clear. They are just like, okay, this guy is the enemy and he wants to destroy the world, because
I like war.
So we will kill the enemy. Basic, my friend. And if I'm being honest with you, that is one of the few negative points about this anime. The biggest villain of Hellsing Ultimate is a guy that
love war.
So he decided to destroy the entire world, which doesn't even make sense. He's a villain just for the sake of being a villain. I would like to see a reason for that. Maybe a little bit of backstory on him or something. But well, after all that doesn't really matter a lot, because you will not watch Hellsing Ultimate for the story. We all know that you will watch Hellsing Ultimate for the blood and for the guts. And if there is a thing that this show does very well, it is action, because you will have great action scenes every episode. My guys, just trust me, if you like vampires and action, Hellsing Ultimate is a must watch for you. Alucard is possibly one of the most overpowered characters to ever exist. This guy simply turned on Game Mode 1 and started playing. He just has no limits. Although Alucard being so powerful, the fights aren't boring at all. The enemies are also really overpowered, and there are a lot of them. In the second part of this show, the entire humanity will basically enter a world war against thousands and thousands of vampires. And this is when shit really hits the fan. You will not even have time to breathe. There will be fights, blood, guts everywhere you look at. Without a doubt, strong point of this anime are really the fights. Every character has a different, interesting way of fighting. Everyone is overpowered, and every action scene is really well animated, with goddamn badass music in the background. Every episode of this anime is also an hour or so you have a lot of content to go through. If Hellsing Ultimate could get even better, I would say that it would be with some romance. But I know that you will just call me horny. Overall, this anime is great. The main character is cold and overpowered as hell. And if you are looking for an anime to watch with your family, this is certainly the one.